mixing them up into a stew. Filmmakers seem to be able to choose from all of the techniques that have existed in the entire history of cinema.
Some of the other films we looked at besides Alain Resnais's films were The French Connection and Point Blank, and just really anything with sort of that jagged 70s style.
The movies that I would sort of look at as influences or things that I found thrilling might be the love scene between Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie in Don't Look Now. Probably in the script it said, you know, they make love and then they get ready to go out, you know. So what they did, it's a sequence where you see the two characters, you know, making love in their bed, and it's intercut with them getting dressed. And it's this really hot sort of love scene with this beautiful sort of familiarity and knowingness, and it's like, oh yeah, this is a couple that live together and they've been together for 20 years, you know. So it's this great, amazing scene of like real passion and hot sex, and yet with this great human, knowing, comfortable domestic thing. It's just fantastic. You know, when you see stuff like that, you go, only montage can do that. And the editor's got to be the guy or the girl that helps make those moments happen.
Filmmakers are always looking for new ways to shoot love scenes. It's one of the hardest things to do. Soderbergh revisited Don't Look Now and kind of found his own way to reinterpret it in Out of Sight. He intercut that beautiful scene where George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez are in the hotel bar with the two of them upstairs later, and those two times are kind of collided. It's a beautiful, beautiful sequence.
And if I had answered, what were you going to say?
I would say who I was, and do you remember me, and if you'd want to meet for a drink.
If I remembered you. I came here looking for you.
The overlapping sound in The Limey is one of my favorite parts of the editing style of that film, and that came about because I'd been very inspired by Out of Sight, which is, you know, to this day my favorite movie that Steven's ever done, and it wasn't used quite in the same way, but I was inspired by it, and when he came in and saw that day's cutting, he loved it, and he said, let's do this all the time.
Look, I am no drug dealer, man. What do you think?
I think you didn't get that ink in the Navy doing your national service.
Hey, man, I already told you, man. Corcoran, you know? You know what that is? State prison.
I loved that he loved it. So when the whole film went nonlinear, it was just the perfect opportunity to keep using that overlapping dialogue where, you know, you show somebody talking but you don't see their mouths moving, and just all of that stuff. So
I just got out myself, didn't I?
I just think there's a lot of room for interpretation about what those reaction shots mean when they're juxtaposed against people's own dialogue as opposed to reacting to other people's dialogue. It was just a matter of finding the balance between how much nonlinear structure people could tolerate yet still be part of the film and still be involved with the story and the characters without alienating them, but yet to also give this impressionistic and disjointed and emotional style that we wanted the film to have.
Awake.
Memento is interesting because it employs both continuity editing and disorienting editing. And the disorienting editing is part of the narrative. Just telling that story in forward chronology would not be the same story. Therefore, the editing puts you in the same state of mind that Leonard, the main character, is in.
You can feel these extreme moments, even if you don't want to.
It's all about the story and getting that story to an audience, whether that be through seamless, invisible editing or through disorienting, shock cut, jump cutty style editing. The opening of the film was clearly mapped out beforehand. When they shot that, they shot it with the camera loaded backwards so that we were able to use the original camera negative also for all of those shots. And that was, again, part of the design, that it would be disorienting. Audiences at large can connect the dots, and they're not as disoriented as they might have been even just 5 years ago or 10 years ago as a result of that. And I think that that's